Welcoming Val to the Hall of Fame are two former co-workers from her days around the water cooler at their Midtown Manhattan offices, Russ Granick and Rick Welts. She got next, Val Ackerman.
I want to start off by thanking Jerry, John, and the contributor committee for this incredible honor and for making this night possible for me. I can tell you standing up here is just an indescribable feeling. I want to congratulate my fellow awardees and inductees. What a class. I'm so happy for Mel Greenberg, my longtime colleague and friend Carol Stiff, of course Yolanda, and Lauren, and especially Coach Wright. It has been such a privilege to work with Jay over the past 8 years. I can tell you that the new Big East would not be where it is today without him and Villanova leading the way. I want to acknowledge my family who's here with me tonight, my dearest husband Charlie, our two daughters in pride and joy, Emily and Sally, my beloved brother George, and my nieces Brooke and Paige, collectively the Rappermans, since I joke. There are too many memories to share about sports, the Jersey Shore, and pets, so much love to you all. My dad, Randy, was a high school athletics director and a basketball referee, and my mom spent her career in state government in my home state of New Jersey. They were ahead of their time in the way they supported the dreams of their tomboy daughter in the late 60s and beyond, and their devoted parenting is very much on my mind as I stand here tonight. This is a little known fact, but my grandfather, whose name was also George Ackerman, played basketball at Springfield College in 1929 and 1930, so that adds yet another layer of meaning tonight for me. Like many girls of my generation, I was riveted by the Battle of the Sexes in 1973. And I'm inspired to this day by the example set by Billie Jean King and the many strong women and men who followed her in the quest to make the chance to play sports and to do it on a big stage a reality for girls and women in our country and our world. Some of these trailblazers, themselves Basketball Hall of Famers, are in the building tonight, and I salute you, all of you, for being guiding lights and paving the way. I'm eternally grateful to Barb Skiba, my coach at Hopewell Valley High School in my hometown of Pennington, New Jersey, and Debbie Ryan, who made it possible for me to attend the University of Virginia on a basketball scholarship in the early days of Title IX. I want to acknowledge Gary Bettman, who jump-started my career in basketball by hiring me as a staff attorney at the NBA in 1988. One of my earliest roles at the league was to manage salary cap questions from the teams. And I remember coming back from lunch one day during my first week on the job to find urgent while you were out messages waiting from Jerry West, Willis Reed, and Elgin Baylor, who were all NBA GMs at that time. How cool was that? I think I still have those messages in my souvenir drawer. Sure hope I gave those guys the right answers. This night for me is always our chance to celebrate not only the artistry of our players and the wizardry of our coaches, but to reflect on the roles played by the countless executives and administrators at the NBA, WNBA, USA Basketball, FIBA, the Hall of Fame, and in college basketball, who work relentlessly behind the scenes to move our great game forward. Sly Stone said it well, we are family. My journey in the sports world over the past 33 years has allowed me to work with and learn from, yes, a veritable Mount Rushmore of basketball giants. Looking back, each one is, or was, unique in his or her own way, but they all brought to their work competency, a sense of purpose, tirelessness, and the ability to bring people together to get big things done. Two of the best are standing up on, or should I say sitting on the stage with me tonight. We all know what Russ Granick did to build the NBA during his long tenure at the league, but his role on the women's side was just as significant. and women's basketball owes him a huge debt of gratitude for the expertise, professionalism, and support he brought to the national team and most of all, the WNBA. I could not have asked for a better boss and mentor than Russ Granick. If one were to combine the best attributes of a family member with the traits we most admire in a work colleague, the result would be Rick Welts. Rick, your talents and courage are unmatched. You've made the basketball world and our society a better place, and I'm very proud to call you a friend. Leadership is about vision, and I'm the beneficiary of the forward-looking thinking of two basketball titans, both named David. What an honor to have known them. Commissioner Gavitt, strike that, Coach Gavitt. Here's my letter to you. Dear Dave, it's been a crazy past several years. The basketball schools and the lawyers were able to hold things together and get us rebooted after all the exoduses. We're still at the Garden, where else? And we brought UConn back to the league. Long story there. Fox Sports has been a tremendous partner, and Dan's following in your footsteps. You'd be proud. Oh, and Jay won a couple of national titles. So we're doing fine. Thanks many times over for getting it all started. We can talk about NIL, contact tracing, and the transfer portal some other time. Sincerely, Val. To my Big East colleagues who are here tonight or back on campus, thanks to each and every one of you, with a special nod to Jack DeGioia, Father Peter Donahue, and Father Brian Shanley, and my amazing staff. You've kept this storied league with its proud basketball traditions going and growing, and it's a joy to work with all of you. Who among us doesn't wish that David Stern, a once-in-a-generation leader, was still with us? His deeply held convictions 25 years ago brought on a new era in women's team sports in our country, and his high standards and marketer's eye shaped the model league that remains a beacon for women everywhere. Was he hands-on, you might ask? The short answer is yes. After all, as we know, episodic micromanagement is underrated. There was truly no better way to learn the commissioner ropes than to be at David's side. The launch of the WNBA was a massive group effort involving willing NBA owners like Jerry, gifted players like Cheryl Swoops, our first signee, hardworking coaches, refs, and team personnel, A-list sponsors and networks, and some of the finest sports executives ever assembled. To all of my league office colleagues who had a hand in the league start, Adam, Gary, Steve, Rod, Matt, Brian, Terry, Ski, Bob, Paula, Kelly, Renee, Jamin, Blaze, Peter S., Peter L., Maureen, Dan, D., Alicia, Terry, Joan, seemingly all of NBA P and NBA E, and so many others. Together, you made history. Jim, Lynn, Carol, and USAB were right there with us in the early years. So for me, tonight is also about our team, and I hope all of you will take a well-deserved bow. I want to thank David most of all for recognizing the importance of women to the future of the game of basketball. My own journey working in the sport has been solitary at times, and as some of you know, that strengthened my resolve and my persistence in making sure basketball does right by women at all levels of the game. I hope we can all keep doubling down to make sure that happens. Dr. Naismith, my final thanks go to you for everything the game of basketball has done for me. You, with a little help from Fran Judkins, have now given me the evening of a lifetime. Thank you so much.